The Walking Dead. The show's been on for 10 years now. Ever since the dawn of time, the very beginning of the show was centered around Rick Grimes finding his family, grouping up with them, and managing to live in this zombie-filled world. In the midst of this, we've come across many characters. A lot of them with... some of them, a big minority of them, have been mainstay characters. A lot of them have died. A lot of them have left the show. Daryl and Carol now are the only other living characters from that first season with Rick Grimes. Because Lori, Rick's wife, Carl's mom, died in season 3. So one Grime was taken out of the picture very early on. The show was then supposed to be about Rick Grimes and his son, Carl. Rick Grimes is breeding Carl to be the future of the show. He's breeding Carl to be able to live without Rick. The day that Rick Grimes dies, Carl will be the one to lead the pack. It's going to be a bit unbelievable that Carl, who's younger than everyone else, aside from Enid maybe, can lead the show. But it seems like that's the direction we were heading. The day Rick dies, Carl will take over. This was all thrown out of the window when Carl bit the bullets, was bitten by a walker in the mid-season 8 finale and died. That all went down the drain. Why? I don't know. We can all have speculation that it's mainly because they wanted to get people talking and they wanted a ratings boost. But we still question, why did you kill off Carl? He was the future of the show. Why did you kill him off? We don't know. But then you think, okay, if they're killing off Carl, they must have some big arc for Rick Grimes. There must be something big. Maybe Rick is going to be here to stay forever. Because certainly there won't be a situation where you have all the Grimes dead. A show where it's been centered around Rick Grimes since the very beginning, and Shane Grimes, and Carl Grimes since the very beginning. There's no way you have both of those characters departed from the show. What the fuck? Brand Busters! With something weird in the atmosphere. Who you gonna call? Brand Busters! I ain't afraid of no rant. Hey, what is up, you guys? It is Tyler. Welcome back to the Tyler Williams channel, and welcome to another Walking Dead video. It's been a while. It has been a while since I've made a Walking Dead video. The last video I've made was the season 8 finale, where I talked about how I did not like the ending to the show. I did not like Rick and Negan finally holding each other's hands, forgiving each other, hugging and making up. I didn't like it. I hated it. But the one thing that seemingly will bring me back to watch the season is to see that arcing storyline. The battle, the war, the internal war, the silent war between Rick Grimes and Maggie Rhee. It seems like Rick and Maggie will be having their own little feud going on in The Walking Dead. I don't think it's going to be a full-on fight between the two, but I think it's going to be an internal struggle within the group between those two conflicting characters. And that seemed to be what direction we were heading. But yesterday, I was on the bus ride home. I opened my phone. I got reports from everywhere that Andrew Lincoln is seemingly departing with The Walking Dead. Andrew Lincoln, the man who's been playing Rick Grimes for 10 years now, almost 10 years, is going to be leaving The Walking Dead very, very soon. Almost as early as probably the end of season 9, maybe even season 10. We don't know. There's no given time frame, but all we hear is Andrew Lincoln reportedly leaving The Walking Dead. This comes as a shock to everybody. You know, no one really thought that we would see today that Andrew Lincoln would part ways with The Walking Dead. I didn't think Andrew Lincoln would lead The Walking Dead until The Walking Dead is finally over. You know, Andrew Lincoln is the bread and butter. He is the centerfold. He is the centerpiece. He is the lead. Despite what you may think of Rick Grimes, I'm not the biggest Rick Grimes fan in the world, but he is the leader. He is the show. You know, you come across all these characters along the way. A lot of them have died. There's only, like I said, there's only 2 remaining characters from that first season. Carol and Daryl. But throughout the show, Carol and Daryl have not been the main character. It's been Rick Grimes. No matter what turn you take, what kind of villain you come across, they're not feuding with Daryl. They're not feuding with Carol. They're feuding with Rick Grimes. It's a struggle between the villain and Rick Grimes. They may hate the group. They may want the place that they're living at. But they have an issue with Rick Grimes because Rick Grimes has been the leader since the beginning. So when you take Rick Grimes out of the equation, the only option you have left is Carl. Because Rick has been breeding Carl to be the one to... How do I put this into words? A new world. Rick has been breeding Carl to be the leader. He's breeding Carl to be the heir to the throne. He's breeding Carl to be able to survive without Rick there. If Rick were to die one day, Carl would be the guy to either lead the pack. If all the adults will let Carl lead him. They might tell him to go sit in the corner because that's where you belong, you little ass kid. Or the show. Even if Carl was not going to lead the group, the show will be centered around Carl. But The Walking Dead managed to fuck themselves over when they killed Carl off. That is the situation you put yourself in when you have 2 main characters and you kill off the youngest one first. I don't understand. To this day, we're still befuddled by the fact that they killed off Carl so early. Carl still had so much more to go. But they killed him off. Just to get people talking. If you wanted to get people talking, you should have killed Daryl off. But you wanted to kill off the heir to the throne. That didn't make too much sense. Unless you had Rick Grimes sticking around for the long run. And I don't think that anyone really predicted that that Andrew Lincoln wanted to part ways. Sure the hell I didn't think the AMC was thinking that. But they should have thought about this long term. What if Andrew Lincoln, the person who is, God forbid, I don't know how old Andrew Lincoln is, but he's probably ever better 40 or maybe going on 50 years old. The guy probably wants to do other things. We have so many movies coming out, so many great ideas still left in Hollywood. A lot of the times you're getting reboots and remakes, but the comic book universe is booming right now. Marvel is pumping out movies out the ass and making so much money. Hell, Denai Gunyeta, the girl who plays Michonne, she was one of the main sub characters in Black Panther, and on top of that, she is in one of the highest grossing movies of all time in the Avengers Infinity Wars. Who's to say that Andrew Lincoln can't play another big character in the Marvel Universe? Who's to say Andrew Lincoln can't play a big role in an upcoming TV show? Who's to say Andrew Lincoln can't be the lead in another big movie coming out maybe next year? He can do all those things. He could have been the lead role in many movies, but he had a commitment to The Walking Dead. And I think maybe Andrew Lincoln realizes this. He realizes that there's so much more he can do, but he's tied down to this one show. The show isn't going up, it's tanking. So Andrew Lincoln probably sees the writing on the wall, and he's like, you know what? I've had a long run with the show. I've had a good run with the show. But I wanna try other things. Andrew Lincoln has been in movies before. Andrew Lincoln has done many other things aside from The Walking Dead, but when you think Andrew Lincoln, he's known for his time in The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead isn't going to be around forever. He has to think about his future, whether that be when the show ends or before the show ends. Andrew Lincoln wasn't always going to stick around, and we didn't think about that because Andrew Lincoln has been there for so long and has been the star of the show. But now the time has come. And it's come at a time where The Walking Dead decided to kill off Carl. Is this Andrew's fault? No. That's the dumbass writer's fault. That's dumbass Scott Grimes' fault. That's dumbass AMC's fault for killing off Carl and not thinking of the possibility of maybe one day the guy who portrays the main character might want out of the show. You always got to have a plan B. Plan C, Plan D. Plan B was always Carl, but Carl's gone. And if Plan A doesn't work, I guess you gotta go Plan C. But what the hell will Plan C be? Ask yourself, who would be the next guy or girl to lead the show after Rick is gone? I mean, it takes you a while to think about it because for so long you've had this idea that Rick Grimes is here to stay until the end. But Rick Grimes could be... Now, don't get me wrong. This is a rumor at the end of the day. It's reports. Every site is reporting it. But AMC nor Andrew Lincoln has come out and confirmed this, nor do I expect them to. Until they do, this is just a rumor. This isn't a statement. This isn't a fact. It's just a rumor. But if this is true, and Andrew Lincoln is looking to part ways with The Walking Dead as early as the season finale of the 9th season of The Walking Dead, where do they go? The bigger question is, do you still watch The Walking Dead after Rick Grimes is gone? You know, so many people watch The Walking Dead. Some of them watch just for the Rick Grimes story. We've been so tied into the story of Rick Grimes. Honestly and truly, the root of the show is the story of Rick and Carl. But Carl's dead, so it's the story of Rick Grimes. You have Daryl, you have Carol, you have Maggie, you have Ezekiel, you have so many other characters in this show. But when it boils down to it, it's all about Rick and his story. We didn't start off the show with Rick, Carol, and Daryl. We start off the show with Rick. We don't focus, the villains don't come to Daryl or Carol when they have a problem. They come to Rick. When a decision is made to stay at a location or to go to a location or battle with a villain, it's not made by Ezekiel or Maggie or Michonne. It's made by Rick. It is obvious that Rick Grimes is the lead of the show. When that lead is gone, where do you go? What do you do? The obvious question is, do you still watch the show? For me, honestly, I don't know. You know, I've never been that big of a Rick Grimes fan, I'll be honest. You know, he's the guy, but not the guy I want. Not the guy I really like all that much. I like Carol a lot more. I like Daryl a lot more. There's characters I like more than Rick. Let's put it that way. But I've never really wanted to see Rick just die, you know? I never really wanted to see, you know, oh, well, the day Rick Grimes dies, the day this show will finally pull itself out of the hole it's digging itself. I never thought that. I never thought that the show will survive without Rick Grimes. And honestly, I don't think it will survive without Rick Grimes. I think once Rick Grimes dies, that show's going to just tank even more. Your casual fans are watching the show mostly for Rick Grimes' story. And if Rick Grimes is dead, you could put the focus on whoever the hell you want. But that whole story of a man trying to protect his family is gone. Because the family is gone. The only other family member left is Judith. But that's Shane's child now, isn't it? So, Lori, Carl, and Rick are now dead. What direction does the group head in? Who makes the decisions? Who's making the calls? So it's one big question. It's a lot of questions to ask once you put in, you know, that seed of doubt. There is that seed of doubt. I'm not going to say that there isn't. There's a big seed of doubt there. That Andrew Lincoln carried the show for so long that when he departs, it's going to be a big void to fill. Actually, it's not going to be filled. When Andrew Lincoln leaves, there's always going to be that big hole in the center of the show because that's the guy. That's your guy, right? Let's think about wrestling. John Cena. He's been the guy for so long. But you know who else they bred to take his place? Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is going to be the guy. He is the guy. Can you imagine if John Cena decided to leave one day and they didn't breed Roman Reigns to be the next guy? Do you know how fucked the WWE would be? Well, imagine that they're breeding no one to take John Cena's place because they think John Cena will be there forever. But now John Cena wants to be in Hollywood. WWE's screwed. AMC is screwed because now Carl isn't there anymore. And now puts you in a position where you have to elevate one of your minor characters to be in that position. I love Carol and I love Daryl, but neither of them have been built up to the point where I could believe that any of them will lead this show. I'm sorry, but Carol and Daryl are not the people I think will be the leader of this. They're not. They're not. They were never built for that position, and I don't think they can be built for that position over the course of one season. It's just not logical. The way that the show should end is with Rick Grimes dying, or they finally settle down in one area where they honestly believe that this is home. 4 seasons now, we've settled down at areas where the villain has managed to take over and drive them out of it. Well, why can't they just settle down in one area and stay there forever? I understand the whole perspective of, this area, no area is ever safe. But what if they do finally find that safe haven? What if they get there and, birds are chirping, children are singing, sunshine and rainbows? Obviously, there's always that point of it's not sunshine and rainbows. Something's bad is going on here. But it's a possibility. And now, it seems like it's the only possibility. I think the way the show should end is that they find the Commonwealth. And that ends the show. They find the Commonwealth. They find the safe haven they've finally been looking for. They've been through so many places. It seems like if they finally do find one place, that should be the end. They finally found the place to actually live and make their own families and start a new future for themselves. Grow old there. Make new friends. Make new families. That should be the end of the show. That should be the end of the show. But we're getting new reports that Norman Reedus, the man who plays Daryl Dixon, is going to be paid a big load of money to stay with The Walking Dead and lead the show. My opinions on it will be coming in the next video. So thank you all for watching. Love you guys as always, and I will talk to you all then. Peace out.